How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new movie review for you. So let's get right into this review and see what I saw. So this past Wednesday, I had the pleasure of going to the movies and getting to see a couple great new movies. This particular video is going to be about the first movie I saw that day. Now, this awesome movie I ended up seeing was a really awesome claymation animated film. And it's based off of an awesome concept and an awesome actual island over in England as well. And that is the film Isle of the Dog. Now, Isle of the Dogs, like I said, is a claymation feature with some CGI animation work involved. But this awesome film was just really well done, really interesting, and the claymation was so stupendously just amazing. I was really blown away with how good they've gotten. I mean, every time I see claymation, it just gets better and better and better, and it's just so, amazing. And, this was just so well done. Now, this movie actually had a really awesome story, a really well done story, very well written, and it was a very interesting concept, especially because they really referenced Japan a lot in this film, and they gave kind of a nuance to Japan, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, this movie was directed none other than by the Mr. Magoo, I would call, of the film industry, who, is very subtle in the type of work and films he does, and that's Mr. Wes Anderson. Now, Wes Anderson, you might recognize, have directing, Darjeeling Limited, Rushmore, and stuff like that. A couple films I really enjoyed that he directed is another awesome claymation film that he directed a few years ago called The Fantastic Mr. Fox. Now, Fantastic Mr. Fox was just a really well-done claymation animation, too, as well. Another great story, lots of great voice actors and talents in it, and just they did a really good job with it. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a really good story, and I thought that George Clooney being the lead was a really awesome choice. It just was a really interesting film, really well done, and just really cool. Now, another great film that Mr. Anderson directed is another awesome film that came out a few years ago that is just a really interesting story, very Wes Anderson feel, and just has a huge cast of actors and actresses involved. And that is the film Moonrise Kingdom, which is a great kind of like coming of age story type of film. And that was another one that I just feel Wes did a really good job of bringing to life. Breathing into it, giving it a great story, great kind of love story / kind of growing up story. Lots of great, characters, and just a really fun and interesting film. And I just thought he really directed it so flawlessly and just, made a really decent film that kept you entertained and kept you wanting to watch and want more. Now, nonetheless, Isle of Dogs, Wes Anderson, once again, he brought to you an awesome and amazing film. He really kept your attention. I wasn't really sure at first when I went to see this, because I'm like, I like claymation, but I don't know, some of Wes Anderson's stuff's kind of different. I wasn't sure about it. But after watching it and coming out of it, Wes Anderson put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this film and made it an amazing animated flick. Good for all ages, too. And he just did a lot of great writing, a lot of great, voice talents in the film. And he just made a really amazing and very technologically advanced film. And it just was a really well-done film, too. And Wes did, like I said, I can't say it enough, he did an amazing job with it. I love that the culture he brought in from Japan, and I really liked how he incorporated everything, like, the signs for, what something would be in Japanese and stuff like that. I thought that was really unique, and I thought that was a really awesome and very cool thing to put into the film. He did a really good job, and he deserves a lot of credits and kudos for how good of a animation, claymation film he made. So like I said before, this has an amazing and huge voice cast. I mean, there are so many people that do voiceovers that have been in all of his movies that you can't name them all. But I narrowed it down to a few that I feel were the main characters and the main, voice actors for the film. Now, to start off this awesome cast is none other than Mr. Breaking Bad himself, Bryan Cranston. Now, Bryan Cranston you might recognize from Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, and, a few other films over the years. A couple films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in was a great based on true story film that he made a couple years ago that just was a really interesting and very different, topic that they don't really talk much about. And the film that he was in and he played the main character was the film Trumbo. Trumbo is an amazing film. I highly recommend everyone seeing this film. It's a really interesting look into Hollywood's heydays back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. And like what happened to a person if they got blacklisted. And that's pretty much what happened to Trumbo. He ended up still working because he changed his name and penned a whole bunch of other films. But at the same time, it's like, this is a really intense and awesome, like, unfortunate event that, Trumbo had to deal with. And Bryan Cranston brought Trumbo to life and gave us, what he was like, back in his, era and his lifespan. And just, he was so amazing in it. I highly recommend, and it's probably one of Cranston's best roles, I feel. Another great film that Cranston was in that I really enjoyed was none other than the 2014, kind of the start to the King of Monsters kind of universe again, that Universal is trying to re-kick off in Legendary. And that is the 2014 film Godzilla. Now, I really enjoyed his character in the film. I thought he was an interesting character. I liked his persona. I liked just how his character was. And I really enjoyed how his character put a lot of influence into the other characters in the film. And I just was a really great performance again. I thought he was really sincere, really true to his, character. And you truly believed him and you really wanted him, to be and to, move on and live in all this good stuff. You rooted for him through the whole film because he's just a really awesome character. Really loved that character, and I thought Cranston did an amazing job with that role. But in Isle of Dogs, I really enjoyed Cranston's voiceover work. I thought he brought life to the dog that he played. I thought he gave him humanity. I thought he, brought to life the quirks and the quirkiness of the dog and, like, what the character was supposed to be portraying. And I thought his voice was just perfect for this claymation creature. And he did a really amazing job and really made a fantastic film. Really great voiceover. I feel that Cranston was probably one of the best voiceover works in the film. He did an amazing and awesome job. Another great actor that provided a voice for the film that was one of the main characters in the film was none other than the Incredible Hulk himself before Mr. Bruce Banner was changed to Mr. Wonderful and Awesome himself, Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton. Now, Edward Norton, his voice is so distinct and so awesome, and no matter what he puts his, mind to, he can make a great performance no matter if it's just a voiceover or his acting ability. And his, bravado or his, body of work is nonetheless. A couple films that I really enjoyed him in and think that were fantastic films and that I feel that were some of his best work were none other than, of course, the 2008 and first and last so far of the last of the Hulk films, The Incredible Hulk. Now, he was awesome as Bruce Banner. I was really sad when they recasted him, but I think Mark Ruffalo is doing an amazing job. But Norton was really good in that. I thought he embodied Bruce. I thought he was just a really good pick for that. I thought he brought a lot of humanity to the Hulk, and I thought he was a perfect choice for that film. And I just think he was really good in the film, and I really enjoyed the film because of his acting involved. Minus, some of the other actors and actresses that were involved in it. I still think the movie would have been even good if there was other people that were involved with Edward. And I think he did a really good job with that. Another great film that he was in, and I think is his number one best role of all time. I mean, this is his, this is one of his first roles, but at the same time, it also shows how good of an actor he is and how amazing he was going to be. And that is the film with Richard Gere, Primal Fear, which this movie is just so amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's a must-see and must-watch. It's so good. So great. I absolutely love this film. It's such a good one. Just a really, really well done role by Edward Norton playing this kind of like you know, topsy-turvy person that has multiple personalities type of thing. And you thought he really was that character. That's just how good he was. And he just was so amazing and so awesome, and I really enjoyed his work in the film. Really, really amazing. But in Isle of Dogs, I really enjoyed his character dog too as well. I thought he was very funny and had some great one-liners throughout the film. He was very kind of like leaderish, but at the same time, you could see that he was kind of following the flock too as well. And I just thought he was a great choice for that role. He just was fun to listen to, and he was a great addition to that voiceover cast and bringing these dogs to life. He just was a really good and awesome pleasure to see in the film. Another great addition to this voice cast is none other than Mr. Angela Bassett himself. And that is Courtney B. Vance. Now, Courtney B. Vance you might recognize from recently being Johnny Cochran in the O.J. Simpson made-for-TV miniseries that they did on FX. But a couple films that I enjoyed him in and thought he was fantastic in were none other than the awesome 1993 Disney film with Elijah Wood, Huck Finn, where he plays John, the character that helps Huck Finn out in the story. And he just was really great as that character. I totally didn't realize that was him until recently. And I always remember loving John's character in the Huck Finn. Thinking that he was just a really good actor. And I just thought Courtney did an amazing job with the role in that film and just made a really great, you know, Disney classic. And he worked so well with Elijah Wood, and just they were a great duo in that film, and it just was a really good portrayal by Courtney B. Vance. Another great film that Courtney B. Vance is in that I absolutely think is hilarious, and I love his role in this so much because he's so stinking funny. And that is the awesome film, The Office Christmas Party, where he plays kind of one of the, he's like a higher exec of another company that they're trying to get to come in and help them so that they, you know, keep their numbers up and can keep the company. And he just was so stinking hilarious in it. I absolutely loved every scene he was in. And Courtney just was like super hilarious, like I said, super funny, and just riotously just like crazy too at the same time, because he kind of gets drunk at a scene and he's like doing all this crazy stuff and you're just laughing. And he had some great one-liners and just was a really great pleasure to that film. He just was super cool in it, and I really enjoyed his character, and he just was a great addition to that film as well. But when it comes to Isle of Dogs, he actually plays the narrator of the film, and I thought he was a perfect voice for that. That very kind of deeper voice that, you know, resonates. And I thought it was a perfect sound. It was very soothing listening to him narrate the film, and I thought he did a really good job with that. And I was really surprised that he was actually one of the voiceover works for this film, because he's never been in a Wes Anderson film, I think, before this. But at the same time, I just thought he was a great addition to the voice cast and did a great narration. I was really impressed by it, and I really enjoyed listening to him while I was watching the film. To finish off this awesome cast and round out this cast, we have none other than another great voiceover work in this that, you know, played some great roles. He was in Independence Day, he was in the Fly remake. He's just a really awesome actor, and I absolutely love this guy. And that is Mr. Jeff Goldblum. Now, Jeff Goldblum, of course, you know, a lot of people recognize him as Dr. Ian Malcolm from a few of the Jurassic Park films and, you know, a few other things. But a couple films I really enjoyed him and thought he was fantastic in. One of the awesome films that Jeff Goldblum was in that I absolutely think is a fantastic film and just a super funny film, and one of his first films, and he just was like so skinny and gangly, so he was very kind of funny looking too, besides his funny, you know, acting. And that was the film Thank God It's Friday. This movie is absolutely hilarious and one of the best 70s movies I've seen, you know, forever. And I just think this is a great film. It was really very 70s disco. It was very just super funny. It was like, you know, about 79, I believe it came out. So it was like about ready to go into the 80s. But Jeff Goldblum was just so super hilarious in the film. I absolutely loved his character in it. He was super funny, and he just did a really awesome job of the film. I really enjoyed it. I thought he was fantastic in it, and I just think he was like had some of the greatest one-liners in the film. And just like the character he played was kind of like skeezy, but at the same time he was kind of like supposed to be like the you know, honest child, or, you know, like a virgin type of kid. You know, it was like super funny and awesome at the same time. Just a great film. If you haven't seen Thank God It's Friday, Definitely check it out, people. It's such worth a watch. So stinking funny, especially for just seeing Jeff Goldblum. Now, another great film that I enjoyed him in and thought was a great 80s classic, and it's a great comedy with a huge cast. I mean, this was probably one of Jim Carrey's first films that he was in, and that is the film Earth Girls Are Easy. Now, this awesome film is just super hilarious and funny, and they play these, like, aliens that come down to Earth and are trying to figure out what to do with their life, basically. It just was a really awesome role. I really enjoyed Jeff Goldblum in it. I thought his role was just, like, super funny. He had some great one-liners, and just some of the people had some great one-liners in it, besides Jeff Goldblum, like Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans. It just was a really funny film, and I loved, like, Gina Davis being in it, and then all the other actors that were in it. It just was a really fun film, and Jeff Goldblum was a great part to that. But when it comes to Isle of Dogs, I thought he was just really intense and awesome in it. At first you kind of don't recognize him doing the voice of the certain dog, but once you listen and you hear that certain kind of, like, certain sound that Mr. Goldblum does, like, that's him, and you're just like, that's Jeff, that's Jeff. And I thought he was really awesome as that dog. He just was a really fun asset to that kind of, like, little group of dogs that's kind of the main cast in the film. And he just was, like, kind of funny. He came up with some of the greatest one-liners, I feel, in the whole entire movie. Because, like, he would have, like, lines like, yeah, I knew that dog from, like, 10 years ago or something like that. It was really kind of just super funny one-liners. And I thought that Jeff Goldblum was perfect for that. And then with his voice and just how his voice sounds, just does, made it even funnier. So I thought he was a great addition to the film and just was a great, characterization of that dog, if that dog could talk and was real. It just was a really awesome role. So if you're not familiar with what Isle of Dogs is about, basically the story is, it's supposed to be set over in 2022 or something like that, over in Japan. And supposedly there's this dog virus that busted out, and that basically created all the dogs to be have this certain disease, and that it was unhealthy for the humans. So the mayor of the city that this is supposedly going on to over in Japan decides to ban all dogs and set them to an isle that they call Isle of the Dogs. And then basically the rest of the movie is simply about how this one younger kid named Atari wants to find his dog, and it kind of goes out on an adventure with these other dogs to try to find his dog. And that's pretty much what the whole premise of the movie is, and him trying to save the dogs as well. It was a really interesting and fun story, I thought. Thought they did, like I said, a really good job with it. Wes Anderson created a really great claymation, CGI type of film. It just was a real pleasure. It was very enjoyable. I think, age doesn't matter. Kids, adults will love it. It's just one of those great kind of entertaining films. It was super entertaining. I love the claymation, and I thought it was so superb. And lots of great comedy, too, in it, I thought. There was a couple scenes, I feel, in the film that were like, super funny. And I literally caught myself laughing out loud so hard at these scenes, because I felt they were so funny. And just had that great Wes Anderson kind of feel to them. Really great and wonderful pleasure this film was. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out, people. Worth a watch. Go to the theater, check it out. Can't wait for this to come out, because this is going to be a great addition to the, collection as well. It's just a really fun film, and just really entertaining. And like I said, all the actors that did the voiceovers just made the film even more pleasurable and more entertaining. They were really good, and like their voices were perfect for the characters. Just a real great film. Giant 10 golden movie boxes up on this one, people. Definitely check it out. It's worth the watch. And if you like this one, check out the Fantastic Mr. Fox, too, that Wes Anderson did. That was a really good one, too. That one's really funny and has a great voice cast, too, as well. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. And if it's your first time here, or if you've been here before and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? A grand invitation? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss one of these awesome videos I do, or any of the awesome videos I put up. As always, keep your eyes out for any old or newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, check out that awesome Horror Pack link down below. Now, Horror Pack is an awesome subscription service that comes right to your door every month of awesome horror films. Now, you can either get DVDs or Blu-ray format, and each box comes with a limited edition. So if you're especially a huge collector of like out of prints or anything collectible, what better way to get an awesome collectible every box, you know, included in your awesome price. So, I mean, this is a great deal and just really well done. So, definitely check that out. Hit that link down below. If you hit that link down below, also, it'll allow you to get a discount on your first month if you decide to subscribe to it. And as always, also, check out that awesome Stardust app, people. Now, you can either go to the Google Play Store or to the Apple Store and download this awesome app where you can watch 3 to 30-second little movie reviews. From newer movies to older movies to TV shows to documentaries, anything you can think of. And this app is being daily upgraded. So, I mean, there's lots of great new features being added to it, and it's just a really awesome app. So if that interests you, go ahead and download it, and then check me out under Cyberneticshark as well. And if you follow, I'll follow you back. And as always, catch you in the next one.